All right, we're back at it again. That's a huge request from you guys for me to do another video like this, breaking down one of Jacob, XP to level 3's amazing videos where he does a funny comedy sketch of something. There's so many great Dungeon Master nuggets for us to kind of learn from that, but you might not have noticed. Jacob is a master of taking big topics like this that we all know and we've all experienced in some way, shape, or form, or heard horror stories of, turning into a video, making it funny, but I'm going to break it down and show some light on some of these more subtle aspects. Link to the original videos down in the description. If you for some reason have not heard of Jacob at this point, go check him out, subscribe, all that stuff. So I'm going to play sections of the video, stop it, we're going to have a breakdown, go back and forth, let's go. Here we go.
I'm going to play a human fighter. Nice. I'm going to play a Githyanki Ranger. That's awesome. I'm going to play a Plasmoid Artificer. In Curse of Strahd. Alright, I've got this section that would be perfect for your character.
Okay, so first little thing here is I try to say yes. As a Dungeon Master, you try and say yes. And somebody throws a wild curveball of Plasmoid Artificer into Curse of Strahd. I love the Amber Temple, things having to do with secrets and stuff there. Find whether it's your own campaign, which is easier to do. If it's your campaign, you can make up stuff even easier. Or a module, find where you could find a way to cram this in. In my first campaign as a Dungeon Master ever in a homebrew setting, I had things like Tieflings and Orcs and Dragonborn, the more exotic races, be more rare. A player character wanted to be one, so now it's more unique and interesting. And how do we do this? How do I have a player character be a Dragonborn in a world that would be, well, we'll get to that. I'll let Jacob show an even bigger example than a Dragonborn.
The Amber Temple will hold secrets that you will have to... I'm gonna play a dragon. Wow. Like a Dragonborn or a half dragon or... Nope. A full dragon. Red. Adult. This is unorthodox. But is it really what you want to play? Yes. All right, let's make it work. But before we do that...
The way he said yes there at the end also just gets me. But yeah, again, trying to say yes. How can... wow. This is a great example. I was trying to think about how I can make a Dragonborn work in the campaign where the lore of it doesn't really work. But this is a full-on red dragon. And how can we make this work? We're going to get into the mechanics of how you could make this work. Legitimately so, as Jacob also does a great job of showing. But sometimes the ask is so big by one player that it starts to tread on or potentially step on the toes of potentially other players. And they have to, the spotlight, you want to make sure that the spotlight isn't always focused on the dragon. And we'll get into the rest of this later. Let's see how he handles it.
How does everyone else feel about Jacob playing an adult red dragon?
Checking in.
I don't care. I think it's fine and also really cool because, you know, I'm playing a Githyanki, but, you know, so long as he isn't overpowering the rest of us, I don't want... you know, him doing 3 times the damage the rest of us are. Yeah, I'm cool with it so long as we can still talk to people and, you know, they don't run off like a bunch of Skyrim NPCs every time we step foot into a village. Makes total sense. All right, Jacob, how about we go totally custom on a character origin and you'll level up with the rest of the party for the sake of balance. But you can pick whatever class you want and flavor all of the abilities and spells and anything you would get from it as whatever you want. Plus, your character will physically appear as a red dragon. Yeah, sounds awesome. Perfect.
Wow. I just love this Gigachad DM situation. So very well done. I have some extra add-ons to add on to that. First is balance. You've got to make sure that one player character isn't, like he said, 3 times the damage and being able to play. You have to also add scaling in there. There's scaling, get it? Dragon scales. Too easy. I can do better. But you have scaling embedded into it. Yeah, pick any class you want. You could be that just makes my mind explode. What if a fighter reflavored everything to be draconic? It's more of a feral dragon, less magic. What if a wizard reflavored things to be draconic? The spells he chose would be breaths, different types of breath weapons, different type of magical energies, whether it be he picks some sort of wind gust type thing and that's his wings flapping. You could get so creative. A bard dragon, without the things that immediately pop into my head, could be the inspiring presence of a dragon on the battlefield, just being inspiring at all. Let me know in the comments what's the best class reflavored to be a dragon like he just proposed here, because that's so cool. But all it is flavor. You can take anything and reflavor it. You can take the Eldritch Blast cantrip and reflavor it to be something so cool. So that addresses the balance and game concerns as far as making sure that one player character doesn't just outshine the others. And the other part is if you have a big minotaur or a big huge ogre or a dragon, entering into a town would just be wildly terrifying. This note is brought up in the video, but there's a little bit more nuance that I wanted to show to the table, because what's the answer to that? So it's not addressed as far as how that problem is solved, because in general, is it okay to bring a dragon into a city? Maybe it's such a high magic setting where a lot of towns would be okay with it, or there's some sort of spin that's put on it where this adventuring party is known to have a dragon that's not bad. Maybe for lore reasons, the Dungeon Master proposes for it to be a different color other than red, if that fits more story-wise. Maybe you could play into some of the shape-shifting aspects of a dragon and let him be able to shapeshift into a human form, and only be able to have a human form and his dragon form, and that's it. Or maybe the player character's okay being on the outskirts of this town and then everybody else is in the town, but then that could create a split between the parties, so maybe the dragon can see through the eyes of someone and speak telepathically with someone else and be able to communicate in the group that way. He just picks a player character and sees through their eyes. Maybe that's too much, giving them even more magical mechanics, but sometimes to make something like this work, everyone has to come together, like he also beautifully said, to talk to the other players to see if they're okay. I would also say if this happened during a session 0 for me, another reason why you should have session 0s for this video, I would also say, like, all right, look, we're going to sit and chew on this. I don't want to lock this in yet. I'm going to think about this and we'll kind of all think about it. And I would also send out to everyone individually, if individually you are not okay with this, please let me know individually. I will keep that anonymous and I will be the one to say no, so that someone at the table doesn't feel like, oh, well, I really would hate this. I would hate to be a part of this campaign if someone's a dragon for lots of other these reasons. I want to be able to, and they don't feel comfortable sharing that with a group. I want them to be able to share that with me. And then maybe I will be able to either come up with problems to help that person feel okay with it, or talk to the overall group and say, maybe this isn't a good idea for this group, and talk to that player who wants to be a dragon and come up with another solution. And you are the intermediary as a dungeon master. And something I want to throw into the mix of something else to give them is, I think that one thing that would feel missing if they were a fighter that reflavored everything to be dragon is at least give them a breath weapon. You already are a dragon, and that's going to come with a lot of stuff, but I would make sure they at least had like a dragonborn level of breath weapon that starts off as that, and that breath weapon aspect would be able to scale, because that is one huge thing as a dragon, is your breath weapon. So I would give them a breath weapon, keep it small and simple, and let that breath weapon kind of scale up over time, constantly keeping a pulse check on the overall power of this character, because you also could accomplish that breath weapon by having them be another class with like burning hands type of situation, and reflavoring the burning hands spell to be their dragon breath. Time out. We're breaking down things that dungeon masters do to set them apart or make them a next level dungeon master. And there's a bunch of nuanced things we're talking about here, but I got something to show you. Friend from the channel, Luke Hart at the DM Lair, is just launching his new Kickstarter, Layers and Legends 2, and Loot and Lore 2, which give you 2 books for dungeon master tools and resources. That's what this entire thing's about. Over 30 adventures, 30 standalone encounters, over 100 monsters, 6 new different rule sets to kind of tweak and change around. You know, that type of stuff speaks to me. And so much more. Honestly, my favorite piece of that gets me the most excited for you guys to have tools that you can plop into your campaigns are those 30 standalone adventures. You're behind on game prep, you don't really know what to do. What are they going to fight? What are they going to do this session? Drop in one of those. Done. You have a quest NPC in your game and they are going to have a key plot point to advance the plot of your story. Well, maybe before they help the players, have them do one of these little standalone adventures. And that's what Luke Hart honestly does so well with all the resources he makes, is give you tools as a dungeon master to truly help you with your session prep, game prep, and make your life easier. So if any of that sounds good, check out the link down in the description and see what's going on right now before the Kickstarter closes. All right, now let's get back to breaking down Jacob's video. All right, let's go.
Oh, and what character did you bring? Oh, my character's a Dragonborn Paladin. Oh, perfect. What's their oath? His oath is to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Eliminating those ways of
NordVPN sponsorship.
Privacy and out there. And it's a 30-day. You enter the largest room, risk-free, and keeps you safe. So go check it out.
Okay, so before this next one, this is a big build-up scene. So I'm gonna stay quiet during the whole thing and we'll let you really set up the build-up scene. But this is a huge backstory piece where there's a character that has a backstory nugget that he is presenting and showcasing to the group. This is all built up to this character arc. This story arc of this part of the campaign has led to this moment of a huge cornerstone piece of this character's backstory that's probably had dozens of sessions leading up to it for this one big moment. So I'm really gonna let this moment land and we can really break it down, because this is crazy.
You enter the largest room of the cavern, and atop the steps you see the bugbear captain, Relshk.
the Icebringer.
It's him.
You see your former master stand above you, surrounded by his elite drow hit squad.
No way.
One of them, Beldir, turns to Relshk and whispers, "Not even I could keep him down with that poison."
That was in my backstory.
Relshk takes up his hammer, carved from the skin of a frost worm.
Ooh, you still wield that thing of the past?
I am honored to carry this weapon. I became who I am with it.
On top of a pile of bodies. Those you left in your wake will never... My brothers.
Do not weep for them, for they helped make me strong.
I take out my dagger.
Puny thing. And look, the young one has yet to complete the rite of blood. Just an ordinary dagger.
Yes, the rite of blood, which ignites your soul and weapon when you take enough souls that are equal to your own. Well, my friends and I have discovered that that was a lie passed down by our ancestors. In truth, your weapon and soul only ignite when you take the soul of someone whom you care for.
Liar!
All I need now is to defeat you, Relshk.
He's bluffing!
Then call it! I'll put my life on the line for this!
Tonk the bugbear bonk, it's your turn.
I want to take my right dagger and plunge it into the person who taught me everything. Ooh! That's so cool. That's so cool. Okay, I need to roll an attack. My bonus with this dagger is like +6. I don't have advantage, so I need...
No need. As you, Batonk, leap through the air, Relshk is powerless to stop you. Rage, fury, and regret pour from your face as your ancestors look down at you and are proud. And in that moment, your dagger ignites in blue flame as you pierce your master's heart.
Dude! Let's go!
Dude,
Let's
oh my
go!
God.
Let's go! Oh, why'd you just let me do that? I could have rolled it. We could have...
It was a great story. I loved what you gave me and I wanted to incorporate it with my own spin.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. It's fun to tell stories when we both, enjoy them and put mutual respect. I didn't even know you were going to do that. I loved it.
Yes. And surrounding you, the drow hit squad. You watch as their scimitars unsheath from their scabbards, coated in acid.
Uh-oh.
Roll initiative.
Wait, can't...
So, what? I don't know if y'all went on the same roller coaster I did, but I got chills multiple times. And then at the end, after it was all said and done, when the player, as Jacob, it doesn't even feel like Jacob. He shifts so well between all of this. The player's like, why'd you do that? You didn't make me roll. Like I literally teared up. I literally teared up because that's so beautiful. This hobby we play, the stories we tell together. Yeah, there's mechanics. Yes, there's attack rolls. There's modifiers. There's all these things. But sometimes the game transcends that. Sometimes moments that are built up from things that had so many mechanics involved transcend that. So when the player asks, why didn't you make me roll for that? Like this is bigger than this. You are here in this moment, and your character, and even if you want to try and argue mechanics, it makes sense. They said that if you didn't catch the lore of it, is whenever you attack someone it means everything to you and all these things, the dagger will alight, your soul alights. You could represent that if you really wanted to as a game master, of like, you automatically hit against everything and or +10 on a... That's not, if you really want to, and your group that would speak to your group to mechanically make it happen or whatever. You can force it to happen mechanically, but it almost means more. And there's very few times this happens for me as a game master. Whenever I don't even ask for a roll, something just happens. It's probably, I would say, the most respect a game master can give a player. Whenever the player says they want to do something that obviously should be a roll, and it's such a big thing, because there's things that aren't rolls, they're just like meaningless things you don't ask for a roll for. But when something's so huge, but you still don't ask for a roll as a game master, oh my gosh, that's like the true deep bow a game master can give a player of like, no, this is beautiful. And Jacob even beautifully describes it like, no, like this is a great story. You gave me so much in your backstory for this to happen and for you to lead to this moment. Like, this is your moment. Because I want to stop and challenge you guys to think about, what if you did allow the dice to enter in here? Because the dice are random. What if they rolled a nat 1? I don't think that 5% chance is worth that risk of that moment. What would happen? You know what I'm saying? Like, no. Absolutely beautiful. Jacob showcases this whole emotional journey of all of this coming into it, the hype and the players around the table of this thing happening and this moment, this one little moment. You don't need to roll a dice for. All right, back to it. Man, how are we going to end this one?
So when I attack, I'm sneaking, so I'm gonna sneak and then I'm gonna attack. But will I still get my first turn? I'm probably gonna lose my first turn, right?
No, you'll still get your full turn.
So we end off on what's played off as a joke and then danced off as a joke. But I do think this is a great note to shed light on, is when you do have these big story moments and these times where you tone down the mechanics, right? Obviously, there was a whole round of combats technically that happened in this big moment where he leaps at him with the dagger and stab. Like, that round of combat never happened. Like, there was no roll for initiative even before that. In fact, in the story, he said that the attack happened and you stand over him and then the enemies unsheath their swords, now roll for initiative. Okay, cool. But what does that mean for other characters? And sometimes as Dungeon Masters, if we do tone down the mechanics to highlight certain things, we don't want that to step on the toes of everyone else around it, because that cool moment for one player, you don't want that to step on the toes of other players who have built their characters in a certain way where they gain a benefit in the first round of combat, etc. So keeping that in mind, this is absolutely the time where you dial back up the mechanics after everything's done and the roll for initiative. Here we go. And then now they're fighting again. And then, yeah, okay, so your ability, you're going to still be able to gain that in this way. And then you have this thing. And make sure that we kind of, if you take down the mechanics, which then hurts someone, make sure you add in a little bit of extra, maybe homebrew exceptions in this case, to be able to be like, oh, this big, huge moment, you're still able to get the edge on them. You still gain this, that, or the other. You could also go as far as saying is once a character has this big, huge, epic moment where something happens for one character, that can trickle out and give advantage to everyone else or give inspiration to everyone else, and mechanically represent that as spreading the love to the other player characters as well in some way, mechanically or not. There we go. I absolutely love doing these videos. They are so much fun to highlight a lot of the points here that Jacob makes that truly help Dungeon Masters tell better stories and help groups kind of understand each other and learn some of the nuances here in this hobby of ours. And if you want to see more of these, let me know. The better these videos do in general, the more I'll try and make them. And if Jacob makes more videos like this, tag me in them, let me know, post them something, comment, let me know. I'm still trying to get Jacob to play some DC 20, but eventually I'll break him down. So big props and shout out and thank you to Jacob. Love doing these videos. Great work you're doing, man. And everybody else, stay creative. Think outside the box. Peace.